Hello, everyone. Welcome to Seed and Stone Musings. I'm Joseph McCaffrey. Thank you so much for listening this week. This week, I want to share a little bit about these ideas of awe, wonder, generativity, our ability to listen to the beings on the earth. You know, I was struck. I was listening to Matthew Fox speak, and I was struck when he was speaking about conversation he was having with a biologist from Stanford who said, you know, we're the only species, Matthew, on the planet of the history of the earth that gets to have a choice in our extinction. And it hit me so strongly this week, I think because of what we're seeing, the unraveling with culture and nature all around us, the chaos, it's beyond irrational behaviors of putting children in cages in Walmart. And I wonder how when I see this happening, you know, we the only species on the planet that gets to choose, have a choice in if we don't go extinct. And I wonder if we realize the gravity of the choices that we make every day. Because, right, it's not one choice. It's not like one day we choose, okay, we're going to go extinct or not extinct. It's many little choices. And as things unravel around us, as the rate of suicide increases, that mirrors the sickness of our culture. And wet places get wetter and dry places get drier as nature unravels around us. The earth speaking to us, creation speaking to us, the divine speaking to us. I wonder how loud it needs to get before we begin to really take action. What it will take for us Westerners to step out of the comfort of our lives into the choice that it takes to be in the conversation with the depths of ourselves and the depths of the world. I imagine myself as a father losing my child and then seeing the image of children being locked up in cages. And it's easy for me to see that person, just like me, is a father. That because of some imaginary political border, they are not different than me. They are the same. That they watched a child come into this life the same way that I did. That what was turned on in me to care for this being was turned on in this person. And then to have that little one ripped from my hands. Because I had to move because of an ecological disaster that's happening on the planet because of the choices made by the industrial world. That 15 years or so ago, and we can see this with satellite images, that South America was green and is now brown. So what happens to humans whenever the places that were green, where you could grow food, are no longer green? We migrate. This isn't a political situation. This is an ecological situation that's occurring. The world is changing around us. And the same thing is happening to our other family members, the trees, the plants, the landscape. It ignites in me this sense of grief, despair, and anger that I know is this conversation that's calling me to act, that's calling us to act, that's calling us to make those choices, not just to recycle, not just to become vegetarian or vegan, but to step into the big conversation, the mystical conversation that we were born to have with the world. To make choices that are generative, the generative being life-giving now and into the future. Generativity. If you are a leader, if you are sitting in a seat of leadership and you are not making a choice that is generative, then you're not doing your job. And a seat of leadership could be on a city council, could be a presidential seat, it could be the seat of being a parent, a manager, a friend, a husband, a partner. We all have this opportunity to act in a generative way. And this poem that came through years ago on this piece of land that I watched be desecrated in the pursuit of growth struck me in such a way that it called me into this conversation. It awoke in me to there is a dialogue, that there is voices on this earth that are speaking. Thomas Berry tells us we've become autistic. We've lost the ability to listen to the voices of the earth, of the world around us, this dreaming world, to dream with it. I don't know if we've lost it, but we've certainly forgot it. So how do we remember? I think it starts with walking out and remembering the awe and the wonder of this place around us. That each thing holds this prana, that it holds this divine energy, that what the words, so many words we call it, God, Buddha, Christ consciousness. I'd invite you to discover your own language for it. We need to reimagine and reinvent a new language in collaboration with these voices that are around us, that are speaking all the time, of the plants, the trees, the earth, the rocks, the sky. This poem, The Grief of the Earth, reminded me of this conversation. I have lost my voice screaming the anger, grief, and despair of this sacred place. I have lost my voice screaming the grief, anger, and despair of this sacred place. I have witnessed the death of the alligator junipers, pinyon pines, and oak trees, the destruction of the ancestors, their quiet voice silenced. I have felt the tears in the morning of the ones left standing. This woven song by our ignorance and greed calls us now to listen to the unspoken word of soul. This to stand together, and sing a new song of praise that transcends this holy land and our hearts along with it. I have lost my voice screaming. I have lost my voice screaming the grief, anger, and despair of this sacred place. I have witnessed the death of the alligator junipers, pinyon pines, and oak trees. The destruction of the ancestors, their quiet voice silenced. I have felt the tears in the morning of the ones left standing. This woven song by our greed and ignorance calls us now to listen to the unspoken words of soul. The world is calling you. The world is calling you to speak your voice into this conversation, the one that has been suppressed in all of us, to stand together and sing a new song of praise that transcends this holy land and our hearts along with it. For more Seed and Stone musings, visit seedandstone.org.